it would just be nice to have everyone give a little introduction. So again, I'll start. I'm Melissa Robinson. I live in Millburn, and I'm very excited to go to Montreal on this mission because I did my first mission as a women's mission to Memphis, and I know Janicia and some other people were on that mission with me, and it was just such a great experience. I'm really looking forward to sharing it with a lot of other people. Becky?
Awesome. Thank you. My name is Becky Novin. I live in Mountain Lakes, New Jersey, of course. And I'm excited to co-chair because I've never been asked to co-chair a mission. Not that I've been on so many, but I believe in making myself uncomfortable. And this definitely makes me a little bit uncomfortable. And the Federation does not disappoint is kind of my mantra. Every time they ask me to do something and I get involved, I am so grateful that I did because the learning opportunity is enormous and I feel so fulfilled because of it. So thank you all for joining.
Great. So I'm just going to go across on my screen, and again, we'll hit everybody quickly. So Sari, do you want to start?
Hi, everybody. My name is Sari Steinman. I actually work for Ayala Tours, so I am the person that is planning this tour alongside the lovely staff of the Federation. I have just most recently been to Montreal and was able to experience for myself the wonderful city that it is. I actually live on the West Coast, so I'm the odd one out here. I live in the San Diego area. So I will be putting together this program alongside Diane, Amy, the chairs, everybody else who works at the Federation. Montreal is a wonderful city. It was my first time there and I really enjoyed it. There's a lot to see. And I think that everybody is going to have a wonderful time with the food, the culture. Just the city is beautiful. So I'm excited to plan this and put together a wonderful program for everybody.
Thanks, Sari. Diane?
I'm the director of women's philanthropy. I've been on about, I think, a dozen missions, some with many of you. Some of you have been on many more than that, but there is nothing like a women's philanthropy mission, and I'm really excited to travel with you guys.
Thank you, Diane. Amy?
Hi, everybody. I'm Amy Savage. I work in women's philanthropy with Diane at Federation. I'm really excited to hopefully travel with all of you to Montreal. I love Montreal. It's one of my most favorite cities. And I had the most amazing time on our centennial mission last summer. So really looking forward to it.
Julie?
Julie Rosenberg, the events director at Federation, and I also love planning missions, and I'm helping out with planning of this mission to Montreal.
Thank you. Linda, do you want to go next?
You're on mute.
Still on mute.
Still on mute?
Now we can hear you.
Okay, I don't see my picture though, for some reason.
We see you, it's okay.
Oh, you do?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I don't see me. I'm from Montreal. I grew up there. My family's there. I know it well. I am actually a member of the synagogue that you're planning to go to, as Deborah knows, the Shar Shemayim. And I think it would be really an eye-opener. What? I'm sorry?
I think there was just some interference. Just go ahead.
Okay, I just said I think it will be an eye-opener to see my city from a different perspective with people who aren't as familiar with it. And my sister, who's very, very involved with the Jewish community in Montreal, this is Deborah's sister-in-law, looked at the proposed itinerary and said it looks great, that there's some places that I've never been to. So I think it'll be a wonderful experience.
You. Deb, you want to go next?
Sure. Thank you, Melissa. My name is Deb Jacob. I'm the Women's Philanthropy President, and I am so excited to go to Montreal with all of you. It is an incredible city. I grew up there. I love it there. My parents and brother still live there. My brother and his whole family live there, so we go up there often. But in thinking about going as a New Jersian, it's kind of like you never experience it in a way like this mission is going to be, because whenever I go up to Montreal, I stay at my parents' house, we eat at my parents' house or my brother's house or other family. It's the Jewish holidays, we go to shul. So this is going to be totally different. I'm so excited to go on some of these walking tours and learn some of the things that I grew up with that I never knew the history about. And there's so much to offer in Montreal. It's such a great city.
Thank you, Deb. Janicia, you want to go next?
So I'm Janice Perlmutter Kamen. I live in South Orange. I like going on women's missions, and I like Montreal, but I haven't been there for over 20 years. So I thought it was a good excuse to go back. And I give Jeannie Samet some credit too, because I saw her last week at Alex Edelman. She's like, "Are you going to go on that?" And I hadn't even focused on it. So I was like, "Oh, good idea."
Well, thank you, Janice, and thank you, Jeannie. You want to go next?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm Jean Samet. I live in Montclair, and I just finished this year's Fed Ed program. And Susan sent out the flyer for this trip, and I thought this sounded very interesting. I was on the civil rights mission with my husband in the end of October and November, and found that to be an amazing learning experience. So I'm interested to hear about this.
Ruth, you want to go next?
Hi, I'm Ruth Feinberg, and I'm from Newton, Massachusetts. And my cousin Linda Baden, who spoke a few minutes ago, my first cousin, sent me the information about this trip. We obviously grew up together. We're 7 weeks apart in age, and grew up at Shar Shemaim as she did. So I'm just interested in some information about the trip.
Great, thank you for joining us. Effie, do you want to go next?
Yeah, I'm also just very interested in learning about trips. I've recently joined the Federation, moved to Livingston, New Jersey. We're still in California. We haven't quite left yet, but it looks like it's going to happen pretty sooner than we thought. And I like to learn about Jewish communities around the world, and I just like to learn. So I would probably love, and I love to travel. So I wanted to get a sense of what it would be like.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Ellen, you want to go next?
Hi, I'm Ellen Ezra. I live in Randolph, and this summer I went on the Centennial mission. I was a bus captain, and so we were talking about doing a women's mission next, and so that was the Centennial was my first mission. And I've never actually been to Montreal, and I've been really wanting to go. And I just reconnected with a friend who lives there, and we were talking about it, and then this popped up. So, and she actually belongs to that synagogue. So this would be an amazing opportunity to see the city, see her, and I just want to hear what it's all about.
Great, thank you. Maxine, I think we have two Maxines. Maxine Murnick, you want to go next?
I'm Maxine Murnick. I live in Short Hills, New Jersey. I'm the incoming president of the foundation. I've been on many missions, most recently Japan, where I came back from them from last week. And I haven't been to Montreal, as I told Deb, since '67. I'm sorry I couldn't find the cup. So it disappeared somewhere.
Thank you. Robin, you want to go next?
Hi, I'm Robin Polson. I live in Maplewood, New Jersey, and I just love going on missions with women. It's the bonding that you have is just very special. So I look forward to hearing more about this, and I've never been to Montreal.
Great. Jody?
I'm Jody Kaplan. Last time I went to Montreal, I was 7 years old, so it's been a few years. And I love these 4-day women's missions. I did Memphis, Mexico City. The civil rights was the first one, and I know it's like the sweet spot, just enough days away to really feel away. But I don't know. not so disruptive to the rest of life and family. So looking forward to hearing more. Thanks.
Great. Thank you. Leanne, do you want to go next?
Okay, hi, I'm Leanne. I'm from Livingston, New Jersey. I too just finished up the Fed Ed program. I went on the summer mission and I'm here to find out more information about the trip to, Montreal.
Thank you. Next, I don't have a name. It just says iPad, woman in a red shirt. So,
Hi, sorry, for some reason it wouldn't let me rename myself. So I'm Liz Beer. I'm from West Caldwell, New Jersey. I've know a lot of you. I've been asked to go on missions for about 20 years now, and I think this might be my first one that I'm actually going to be able to go on. So I'm really looking forward to hearing all about it.
great, thank you. Maxine Schwartz, you want to go next?
Hi, can you see me?
I cannot
No.
see you, but we
Oh,
can hear
okay.
you.
Okay, good. I'm on the phone. I'm Maxine Schwartz. I'm involved in Federation. I've been on a whole bunch of missions and I really enjoy going on them. Especially if it's a smaller group mission. The experience is really terrific. And I'm looking forward to going to Montreal.
Great, thank you, Maxine. Rebecca?
Hi, I'm Rebecca Gold, another mountain laker, and I don't have a why I'm going, but I have a lot of who's why I'm going. There are a lot of you who I just cherish, and I just so need a trip away with our women's philanthropy peeps. And Montreal is so lovely. I haven't been there in, I think it's probably been 30 years. But I've got a lot of people that I know who are from that community, from the Jewish community. I know it's an incredible community. Deb, Linda, two great Canadians in our midst. And I do also find just traveling with women very inspiring and nurturing. And I look forward to getting to know many. I'm definitely going. I'm just putting it out there. I'm going. I got to get out of Dodge. But it is for any of you who have not been on this trip. It's one of the best ways to understand who we are and what we do. And you can't get your head around how great a mission is until you go. So I look forward to it.
Thank you, Rebecca. Jill, do you want to go next?
Hi, I'm Jill. I'm the Events and Missions Associate. I'm here just to help with screen sharing and things on the back end. You may or may not see emails from me in the future when more information is requested from participants, but I've looked over the itinerary. It looks amazing. I'm very jealous. So enjoy the info session and yeah, have fun.
Thanks, Jill. Marie, do you want to go next?
Hi, I'm Marit Halper. I'm from Randolph as well. And I am just here to get more information on the mission to see if it's something that I can work into my schedule. So I'm looking forward to getting the info.
Great, thank you. And Allison. Allison, you're still on mute. I don't know if you're able to.
We'll make sure to check back in with her.
Yeah, exactly. If you're able to wrangle the tech, then please speak up and we'd love to have you introduce yourself.
She said she can't get off mute.
Yeah.
She can't get off mute for some reason.
Okay. Well, welcome, Allison. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for sharing a little bit about yourselves. I think, we've potentially got a really great group here. And as Becky and I already said, we're really excited about this. Want to echo a little bit of what a couple of people have said, that there's nothing like a Federation mission, and specifically a women's philanthropy mission, because the opportunity to bond with like-minded women, Jewish women, in a different city away from our day-to-day is kind of unique. And it's something special. You form really special bonds with people, and you get to see a new city, or, well, for some of us, a new city, for some of us, an old city, I suppose, but a different city from a very different lens, you know, and we get to see a lot of the normal tourist highlights, but then you see them through a Jewish lens, and we get to see and do and experience things that are a little different than an ordinary weekend in Montreal. So it really is a great experience, and we're looking forward to it. Becky, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I'd add that it's also so interesting on the mission, if you haven't been, the women that you connect with are all stages and ages. And I find that to be so enriching in my own life, because on the Centennial Mission in Israel, I am closer with women. I lost my mom in November, and I'm closer with women that are close to my mom's age, which is so beautiful. It's the only way I can describe it right now. It's just so lovely to be able to talk to women across all stages and ages. And I'd say, why Montreal? It's kind of interesting. I haven't been there since I was in high school, I'd say, but it's so close to us, and it's supposed to be such a, or it is, it's not supposed to, it is such a sophisticated city, both in food and art. And what a better place for all of us to get together and kind of explore the Judaism and what we have in common with Montreal. So I think that's going to be amazing. And to your point, Melissa, I didn't fully understand when I went on my first mission how much of a learning process it was, because the professionals that take you around the cities and the areas that you're in are phenomenally trained, and they're just expert historians, etc. And you will see the city like you have never seen another city, of course, unless you've been on these missions before. So they do it so well. Back to my original comment, in that, of course, I'll co-chair. You guys will make me look like a genius, and we'll have fun doing it. So those are my 5 cents.
Yeah. No, and I completely agree with you, Becky. The Federation staff that runs these missions is so unbelievable. The whole thing is seamless. And, you know, for many of us, we often plan our family vacations. You're responsible for picking every restaurant and doing the itinerary, and it's your fault if something goes wrong. So it really is kind of a nice added benefit that all you need to do is show up. All the hard work is done for you, and you'll have an amazing experience. And you really don't have to work that hard for it.
No sweat, right?
So with that, I'm going to turn it over to, I think Diane is going to go next, unless there's any questions or anything.
Or Deb wants to say
Deb, I'm
something,
sorry.
I think. Yeah.
Deb
Deb,
is
I'm going to
next.
toss it
I
to you.
apologize. Going to turn it over to Deb, and we'll tell you a little bit more about the mission specifically.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Becky, for already showing us what great co-chairs you are. You've got so much energy, and it's contagious. And I think that, as I said before, I grew up in Montreal, but that's not why I want to go on this mission. Montreal is an incredible city. It, like what Becky said, it's got arts and culture, food and fashion. It's got music, it's got comedy, it's got like so much stuff that makes it such an interesting place. And it's pretty close by. It's like under an hour to fly up there. And you feel like you're taken away to another place. And so Montreal in and of itself is very special, but Jewish Montreal is like twice as good, maybe 10 times as good. Jewish Montrealers have a very connected, it is a very connected, close-knit community. and they are very committed to ensuring a thriving future for Jewish Montrealers. And I can talk about that in a little bit, about why the future of Jewish Montreal might be in jeopardy, or how in the past it's been threatened. But I think that since October 7th happened, and we've had this mission in our books well before that, but since October 7th happened, there has been even more need to connect with Jews around the world and to show solidarity. And so going to a place like Montreal as a bunch of Jewish women, meeting other Jewish women, really is a way to connect and make all of us stronger. Montreal Jews, New Jersey Jews, Israeli Jews. So that's a big part of my why. Give you some facts, which I loved learning about myself, because as I said before, when you live in a place or you grow up there, you really don't know these kinds of details. So I wanted to share some facts with you. Montreal is home to approximately 90,000 Jews, making it the second largest Jewish community in Canada and the 15th largest in North America. It has a quarter of the country's Jewish population. So that's pretty cool. There have been a continuous Jewish presence in Montreal since the 1760s. So it goes way back, and there's so much history in Montreal. It's such a colorful place. And if any of you listen to Leonard Cohen, you hear some of that color, some of that grittiness, some of that kind of raw emotion. And that's like part of what it means to be a Jewish Montrealer. So the community began to grow at the turn of the century, and today Jews comprise 2.4% of the total population of the city. While the community is well integrated into the broader Quebec society, it maintains a comprehensive network of institutions and services, including synagogues, cultural venues, schools, theaters, senior centers, social services, employment counseling, and healthcare facilities, just to name a few. It's pretty incredible. Jews like taking care of Jews in Montreal. They also like taking care of the broader population, just like we do here in New Jersey. We don't just care for ourselves. We open up our services and our expert staff and clinicians and programs to those beyond just our Jewish community. Montreal does have a highly organized Jewish community. It has its own Jewish federation called CJA, which is Combined Jewish Appeal. And one thing that will be interesting to learn on this mission is the history of the conflict of the English and French. And I'm sure that when you think of Montreal, you think of it as a French city. A lot of people wonder why I don't have an accent, and probably why Linda doesn't have an accent, or Ruth. Well, because we all grew up as Jewish, as Montreal, English Montrealers, English Quebecois, or English Canadians. And so my first language is English, but there is a lot of tension, and has been for many years, between the English and French populations. And so much so that there is history of violence between the two groups, and it has gotten very contentious over many decades. Recently, it has escalated. There's restrictions on kind of displaying religious symbols, whether it's a Jewish star, if you're a public employee, and that has caused a lot of controversy in terms of that's not necessarily an English-French thing, but the French party is in control of the government, and so they get to pass the laws, and they're maybe not as open-minded as some other governments in Canada. So in the 80s and in the 90s, a lot of English Montrealers left because they couldn't find jobs. They weren't happy with the French coming in and putting so many restrictions on. So they had a kind of a brain drain, where people left and moved to Toronto or Vancouver, or if they got jobs in the States, were able to come to the US. So I think that's part of the history of Montreal that you probably wouldn't learn about if you went up there to the Just for Laughs Comedy Festival. Another thing that we hope to explore while we're up in Montreal is the Ashkenazi and Sephardic relationship. They really have, they're integrated in certain senses. I don't think it's considered a mixed marriage if an Ashkenazi marries a Sephardic, but there are certain things that are very separate. For example, in their federation, they have two distinct fundraising arms, one that's for the Ashkenazi and one that's for the Sephardic. So we'll learn more about that. And missions are always an opportunity to create relationships and strengthen our ties to Jewish communities wherever we might travel. And there has been a lot of anti-Semitism here at home. You may have heard that in Montreal, just within the last 2 weeks, there was a spike in anti-Semitism, but they really could use some support from another community. And I think that us traveling up there would give them a lot of strength and show that they're part of the North American community and the North American Jews stick together and support each other. And we've been in close contact with our partners at the Montreal Jewish Federation, and they are so excited to meet us and show us their city and show us their federation. They provide a lot of social services, just like we do here in Greater Metro West, and we'll get to see some of that and experience some of their programming. My sister-in-law, who's married to my brother, is very active in the Federation, and I believe her last title was, or her current title is past campaign chair, and my parents are very involved in the Federation, and it continues to be a very big part of our family's life. I am just thrilled to share this with so many of you and to get to explore and experience what Montreal has to offer. So I'm going to hand it over to Diane.
Great. Thank you, Deb. I'm excited because you're excited. You've been talking about this for your whole presidency, and we're finally going to get to go. So I just wanted to say a few words about Federation and our counterparts in Canada, because you may have heard that our Federation is celebrating its 100th birthday this year. It is our centennial. And for 100 years, our Federation has been the social service umbrella and community organization that covers all of us. And just like we're going to see in Canada, here at home, we help those in need through about more than 20 local and overseas partners, including emergency food pantries, Meals on Wheels, social services for Holocaust survivors in our area, job counseling, mental health services, keeping our community institutions like JCCs and synagogues safe, and of course, unfortunately, combating anti-Semitism, which has become an increasing challenge for us. So all of these things really mirror what we're going to see at our Canadian partners. And all of this work can really only take place because of the generous donors who support our UJA annual campaign. It is the lifeblood of everything we do. It's similar in Canada. We have sort of similar sizes campaigns and similar women's philanthropies that we're going to learn about. It's a unique opportunity on a mission to get to see how the ways that these two communities are structured and to see how we fit into the larger Jewish world. And as Deb said, in this case, hopefully lend them some support and get some support back that we're all Jewish women trying to do good in the world. So based on past missions experiences, in order to provide the best experience for everyone, we can only take one bus filled with women to Montreal. And we feel that's the right number for everyone to get to know each other a little bit, maybe meet some people you didn't know, and just sort of optimal logistics for going in and out of the places that we want to visit and get access to smaller places and people's homes and whatnot. So just a final note about our campaign. This mission is in support of the 2024 UJA campaign that we just are about halfway through. And this mission welcomes women who make a minimum gift of $1,000 or more to join us as part of our Federation delegation to Montreal. I'm happy to answer any questions about that offline or when we get to the questions this evening. And we're just really excited to see how our counterparts in Montreal are tackling some of the same and also some different challenges, and sort of share with each other what those challenges are, or maybe get some solutions from each other. So I'm going to toss it to my colleague Julie Rosenberg to go over the itinerary, but I know we've been talking a lot. So before we get into the nitty gritty of the itinerary, does anyone have any question on anything we've covered so far? Okay, everyone's been paying attention. Julie, it's all yours.
Okay, thanks, Diane. I'm really excited to see many friends from past missions, and I'm thrilled that everyone's here tonight. My job tonight is kind of look at the details of the itinerary, go over it, and then see what questions you have. This is a draft itinerary. This is an overview of where we are now. We have a challenge with Montreal that there's so much that we want to see and do that we can't get everything in 4 days. So we're trying to cram it in. And this is the 4 days that we have planned now, but it is going to change. And, but I do want to go over the highlights and what we are going to see in Montreal and do, you are going to see and do. And then we will continue to send updated itineraries. Sari from Ayala Tours is working really closely with us to make the best use of our 4 days there. So she will jump in if need be, and then she's there to answer any questions about, about Montreal itself. So as you know, we're starting on June 2nd, the first day. And one thing that I will talk about afterwards is kind of what's included and what's not included. But the way that we structure missions at our federation 99% of the times is that the mission includes the land, what you're going to do in the destination you go to, and the air is on your own. So we have designated flights for this trip, and they were on this itinerary, and you will get your own flight, and you can do whatever you want with that flight. And if you decide that you want to come early, you can do that as well, and we'll find a meeting place. But if you do come on the designated flight, then we'll meet you with a bus at the airport and then start our exciting journey together in Montreal. So you'll see that we're not landing, it's not on here, but we're not landing till about 1:15. So it's already in the afternoon. So we are starting out with a walking tour that is through the Museum of Jewish Montreal. So you will see laced through this itinerary, there's a lot of Jewish pieces, a lot of cultural pieces. Montreal's become a foodie destination. So there's a lot of eating and tasting the delicious food of Montreal. But we do want to explore the Jewish neighborhoods and what is the Jewish history and culture of Montreal. So we will meet. Just one thing I do want to mention is we will have a tour guide with us the whole time that we are in Montreal. And that tour guide has a lot of history about Montreal and a lot of the issues that Deb had mentioned. That tour guide will be weaving those into every day and what we're seeing and doing, and another place that we can ask questions. So we'll start light the first day with a walking tour, and then we'll go have a little downtime and have a welcome dinner together. If you saw on the itinerary that we're staying at the Ritz-Carlton, which is people who have stayed there have said it's an amazing, beautiful hotel. So we're really staying in deluxe accommodations and spoil ourselves for the 4 days in Montreal. Okay, move down a little bit, Jill. The second day that we're going to go there is where a few people mentioned the Federation CJA. We really want to go there and see what they do because we're coming from a federation. So they have this Zira Cafe on site there, which is a nonprofit that they do to employ neurodivergent adults. So we're going to go and learn more about that, drink coffee, have a little nosh with them. And then we're going to go on the famous Beyond the Bagel walking tour. You'll see there's a lot of bagels and a lot of walking tours in our itinerary. But if you know the Montreal bagel, it is my favorite bagel, and I love Montreal bagel. So this tour takes you to try different bagels, and you'll be going to some of the famous locations and spots on this kind of lunch walking tour. We'll be able to eat and walk and see a lot of neighborhoods of Montreal at the same time. Besides bagels, it's also places that have delis and bakeries. So it's really a real comprehensive tour. And then a little free time for shopping. You know, somebody had said, oh, the one thing you don't get to do enough of on missions is free time. So we are putting a little time in there so there can be some shopping, which is one thing we like to do when we go to a foreign destination. And then again, back to the hotel. And we're hoping that we have several different options for some hospitality, which is so nice to go and visit people that live in Montreal and be welcomed by them, learn about what life is like in Montreal and have a cocktail reception to them. And that probably will be a free night. And then there'll be some options so that if it's a free night, then we're going to make dinner reservations so groups can go to different restaurants, or we may decide if anyone wants to, we'll get tickets to a jazz show. So we're kind of looking into all those things that are available for us for the week of June 2nd to 5th. Then we get to day 3rd, which I see is titled Montreal Then and Now. And this Musée de Beaux-Arts is their fine arts museum. And someone told me this weekend they have a great gift shop. I love gift shops at museums, and they have a beautiful, some beautiful exhibits. So that's one of the museums that we're going to go to and really be able to explore. And then a Montreal mural tour to see some of the murals that are there. And then the Jean Talon Market is an open market, and we can go through and be able to buy ourselves lunch and vegetables and fruit. I think you really get to see the culture and the feeling and the people of a country when you go to their open markets. And I have been to open markets in Montreal. It's been one of the highlights for me. And then again, some more walking around Montreal so we can eat what we want for the bakeries and the markets, and then we can walk it off and go see all of these beautiful highlights that are listed there, which I don't need to repeat them all to you, but you see there's a lot of things that we can see. And then a group dinner, and then we're looking now to what kind of a fun activity we can all do together that night. So everyone will go to do stuff together, whether it's small groups that want to go for dinner for 5 or 6, or the whole group's going to go. But we're going to work together to make sure that everyone has plans the whole time that they're in Montreal. And then it's already day 4 that it goes really fast, and you see we're jamming a lot of stuff in there. And then we're going to go to another Federation partner, which is this GEM workshop, which again is employing people with diverse abilities, and we'll be able to really see what they're doing in that workshop. And then the famous congregation Shar HaShamayim, which they mentioned, and that's a beautiful synagogue and the largest traditional synagogue in Canada, you know, as it says. And at the end of our missions, if you've been on Federation missions, you know, we all like to get together and kind of talk about the highlights and cry a little bit and laugh and share stories. And then we'll eat lunch, and then we will fly back. So that is a really quick, I know I talk fast, so I do apologize. I do want to mention a couple of things that are included, which is that, you know, you're getting the hotel and all the touring and sightseeing, and we are bringing our security director with us. So we'll have 4 days of security detail with us the whole time. And the tips are included. If you've been in some of our missions, sometimes they collect money for tips. This mission, we have included everything. Most meals are included. And then you saw in my overview of the itinerary, there's a lot of the highlights of Montreal, and you're going to see all of those. So really what's not included is the round trip airfare that I said. There may be a meal on own, a dinner on own, if you want to decide that you're going to go do a jazz show, and we have as an option. And then we are really trying to, for all of our missions now, require travel insurance. In this day and age, with all the things that are happening and COVID and everything going on in the world, unfortunately, we are requiring travel insurance. And when you sign up with the registration, you can just get the travel insurance through them. So it's very, very easy. And then we have a flight that night that leaves at 5:40 from Montreal and arrives 7:22 in Newark. And I think that's it. Did I leave anything out, Diane? Anything you want to add in the overview? Sari, anything that you want to add to that?
So she mentioned the flights are designated. Just want to clarify that it's not the end all be all, but the idea is that we would like people to be on those flights, but we did not make it a group flight so that people can use miles and things like that. With that being said, Julie also mentioned the option of coming early. So if anybody wants to register and is interested in arriving a day early because they have family, or for whatever reason you just prefer to be there in advance, you can certainly reach out to me, and we'll make sure that my contact information is posted, as I'll be answering questions from registrants and things like that. I'm sure there'll be other questions I'll answer later, but yeah, the designated flights are suggested, but we do hope that most people take these flights just so that everyone is there in a timely manner and doesn't miss anything.
I do want to mention one question just to make sure that everyone saw it in the flyer that went out, that when we have a price for a mission, it's double occupancy in a room. So there is a single supplement that if you want a single room, which many people do, it's $599 more. And if you'd like to find a roommate from someone going on the trip, that's one of the things that you can mark that on your application, and we will see if there are, are other women that are looking to join a room, and if not, then you will pay the single supplement, but the price is based on double occupancy. And we've reserved of a group of rooms. So we're hoping that people sign up soon so that we can keep the price where it is and we can have a great trip and fill up all those rooms. And that, I think, is everything on my end. Are there any questions? This is your chance to ask whatever you want. There is no stupid question or question. I mean, I talked fast. So anything that you still need to know to make a decision about going to Montreal, please, this is your chance to ask that.
Janicia, go ahead.
So I just saw one page flyer, so that proposed itinerary, has that been sent to us yet or shared with us?
It's going to be, the new one is going to be sent to you, I would say tomorrow.
Okay.
We just finalized with our changes. So yes, we will send that to everyone so you can see what I was talking about so quickly. But I hope you saw some of the highlights and some of the fun stuff that we're gonna do, and it's a lot of, there's a lot to do in Montreal.
Looks
so
great.
I think the 4 days, we could even do longer, but I think we're gonna pack it in for those 4 days and have an amazing, amazing time.
Diane, how do individuals get a copy of the Zoom that you're recording?
We will send it, if they let us know, they can let let Diane know that they want a copy of it.
And we can send it to anyone who was signed up who didn't come. There are only a couple of people. Jeannie, you have a question. I just would add about the itinerary. We're going to be adding lots of fun stuff. You have 2 amazing chairs here, plus Deb Jacob, and she's getting all the insider tips from her sister-in-law and brother. And there's going to be a lot more that we're adding. We just want to give you sort of a basic outline for tonight. Jeannie, go ahead.
Yeah, how many people do you, what's the limit on how many people for the trip? Because you said it depends on the bus.
I mean, usually the bus is 38 people-ish. Sorry, does that, I can't see where
So the
Sarah
one
is.
thing that we want to discuss is this hotel, the Ritz-Carlton. We do not want to make anybody feel unwelcome by any means, but as Julie said and everyone has said, it's important that people sign up. If you really are interested in this trip, that you sign up sooner rather than later. With that being said, the hotel had some other groups in house, and we have a certain number of rooms. So we have, I believe, around 20 rooms. And so that doesn't mean that you can't have a single room, but we can have more people if people do share rooms. That's kind of what we're looking at. So the nice thing is it also cuts down the cost for some people. It allows you to have a slightly larger group. If everybody just takes a single, then we have to stick to a smaller group. But if we can do in the 30s, if we do have people willing to share rooms. Two beds, not sharing a bed or anything like that. And the rooms are lovely there. I actually was just there myself and was lucky enough to stay there. So that's what we're looking at. It really is dependent on who signs up and is willing to share rooms. My apologies. I'm going to mute myself for the dog. But that's what we're looking at. So if people are willing to share rooms, we can offer more space on the trip.
I have 2 questions. It's Marie. First is, well, not a question really, but I would probably have to leave early on the 5th. That was one of my concerns because it's actually my son's junior prom that night. So I needed to know what the timing was, but I have to be back before 7 o'clock, unfortunately. So that's just one thing, but that shouldn't be a huge problem. Question is, what time does everything start in the mornings? Because I'm a very early riser, but I have things that I need to do in the morning. So I need to know, like, does it start at 8:30? Are we on the buses like at the Centennial Mission? Is it closer to 9? Just need to know that.
Sorry, I'm going to let you take that. And then Deb, I would love for you to talk about what you were thinking about as an option for some mornings. Sari, go ahead.
So we don't have exact set times right now. Again, the itinerary is evolving, so it's all going to sort of depend on, you know, where we're going on which days. Again, this itinerary will consistently change. Most of the things that you see there are going to happen. It's just a matter of the timing that we can get at certain locations. Some things don't open, but if it's a walking tour, things like that, it's flexible. So you're not going to be on the bus at 7 a.m., but you're probably going to be on the bus between 8:30 and 9, I would say most days. Breakfast in the morning at the hotel is offered, and that's kind of at your leisure and the time frame that they're open until you're leaving. Each morning you'll be given, or probably the night before, you'll be given a time to meet in the lobby in order to leave the hotel in a timely manner. But we don't have a set time yet because we're still working out all those details. So I would say it's going to be probably around 8:30 or 9 a.m. departure most days. And, you know, more information about that will come out. But right now, with the fine tuning of the details, we don't know exactly.
I'm going to jump in. In terms of the mornings, some people are early risers. They're just some basic travel stuff. There is no time difference between New Jersey and Montreal. And Marie, there are several flights a day nonstop from Newark to Montreal, or Montreal back to Newark. So if you have to leave earlier, as much as we would love to have you till the last moment, you can easily hop an earlier flight. So that's great that you asked that question. But in terms of mornings, it depends what you're up for. We hope to have some options. The Ritz is in an incredible location right in downtown Montreal, but right on the edge. And it's right at the foot of Mount Royal. And so there's a great stair climb, essentially, up to the top of Mount Royal, pretty close to where the Ritz is. And it might be a wonderful way to start the day to hike up to the top of Mount Royal. You get to see an incredible view from the top there. Of course, it will be perfect weather that day. And maybe we'll meet up with a food truck and have a great cup of coffee, a croissant. Top. And for those of you that took high school French, you can practice all your French there, whether it's ordering a coffee or a croissant. They would love to hear your French. It is not Paris. They will probably respond to you in French. The Quebecois are not snooty about their French and will not respond to you in English when you try and speak your best high school French or college French. So it is a different country. You do need a valid passport to fly into Montreal. So make sure that it is valid. We don't want to leave you at the airport. That would be awful. But it's a great time of year to be in Montreal. June is just so exciting. Everything is starting to get lush, and so you can feel summer. It will be summery there, and all 4 days the weather will be perfect. So climbing to the top of the mountain is great. And if that's not your cup of tea, but you do want to meet us on the top of the mountain, I'm sure the bus can take you up to the top and meet up there for the view. So, and if we have any yogis on the trip, we might try and figure out a way to do yoga on the top of the mountain. You will see lots of people walking their dogs, running, biking, getting to work through the mountain, or just going out there for exercise in the morning. It's a very vibrant location.
They're all going to hold you to that weather promise, Deb.
One thing I want to mention, or two things. One is that if you go to register, you'll see that it's the Ayelet Tours registration page. So sometimes you may be used to seeing the Jewish Federation registration page. We're doing registration through Ayelet Tours, and Sari's available for any questions that you have about registration. If you don't understand something or you're not sure about something, Sari is working closely with us to answer the questions. And all of us are available for questions. And secondly, closer to the date of the mission, we will be having an orientation, and then we will have a more updated itinerary and what to pack and all kinds of more details and information to help you get ready for the mission.
I do want to mention something about the registration process really quick. Sorry, Diane, did you need to go first?
I was just going to say something about the hotel because I think we forgot to mention a couple of the amenities. It is a deluxe hotel. There's a gym that is open 24/7 and an indoor saltwater pool, and it looks lovely. We've heard only lovely things. It's not specified on the registration page that it is the Ritz-Carlton, just for security purposes, but that's where it is. And it's a great downtown location. Go ahead, Sarah.
I was just going to say during the registration process, there are some questions that will be asked. These are standard for ALIT tours, and it also helps us to make sure and to ensure that you have the best time possible, but that we also can accommodate. So I just want people to know that there are questions that you'll have to answer. There's just drop-down menus, and then there are space for more information. If you have a specific question or concern, or you want to make sure that we can accommodate something, you're welcome to email me separately. But these things will include accessibility. So it'll just ask you the simple yes or no if you're able to get on and off of a bus without assistance. There will be a question about image release, and that image release is specifically for ALIT tours to use group photos and things like that from the trip for future marketing purposes. This is not for me to just like plaster things all over the internet, but it is for marketing purposes. If they decide, if the federation decides that they want to put together a roster of who's going on the group, are you okay to have your name and your contact information placed on there? And normally would ask about travel insurance, but you can decide on there. And basically there is an option for a TravelX policy that we provide. We're not the provider, but we work with TravelX, and we take the information for everybody registered and we pull out the policy on your behalf. So I just want to be clear with that, that we are working on how to best handle, but that is basically the travel insurance. It's really very easy, and it's a pretty comprehensive policy. We have the information up on there about what that entails, but it's based on your total spending of land and air, as well as your age range. So you'll be able to see that, but they are requesting that travel insurance be taken out. So there's some questions on there. One thing I do want to mention also is that it's really important for me to know if you there are questions about whether or not you keep kosher and dietary restrictions, but I do want to mention that if you have a major allergy or a restriction to some sort of dietary item, or you are allergic to gluten, I mean, the real big things, I need to know those things because I will be planning all meals that are included, and I do not want anyone to be sick or to be sent to the ER or anything like that. So that's really important. So there is a place for you to mention that. If you need to provide further information to me and there's not the space for it, you can feel free to send me an email. But that is a really important aspect that sometimes people don't think about. You will be dining as a group, and we have some parameters for the group as a whole. But if you do have a severe allergy or anything like that, or something you think I need to know, it's better that you put it rather than leave it out. So please do include that in the space. And if there's anything that you need to provide more details on, you can feel free to email me, and we will make sure that my email address is posted so that everybody can reach me. If you have questions before you sign up, while you're signing up, after you sign up, whatever that may be. But it's a fairly easy process. You'll go in, you'll choose, everybody, I'm assuming would be choosing one adult, and then you can choose if you're planning to share. There will be a space where you can list a roommate name if you already have somebody in mind. It's fairly self-explanatory. You'll fill in your contact information and things like that. And then at a later time, once you're registered, we will ask for you to verify or confirm your flight information so that we can keep track of who's coming and when, how many people will be on the bus from the start, all of those types of things. But we will give further information about that. I just want everybody to kind of be aware that the process will ask these questions. So please be expecting that.
Ellen, did I see you had a question?
Would there be an opportunity for people who live in Montreal or part of the Federation there to like jump on to some of the activities throughout?
For that one, absolutely. I was able to go on the Panama mission recently, the Women's Philanthropy Panama mission, and one of the highlights was meeting the local women. And I think that will absolutely be woven in. We want you to create real connections, not just with tour providers and people that are showing us around, but people that live there. And there will be plenty of opportunities to locals.
I think, Ellen, were you asking if like there was a friend you had that they could join us on the trip?
Yeah. Well, like not all the time, but like it's on certain things. Yeah.
Well, there is free time, but
Okay.
are you asking like, can they come on one
Like
of
a
the,
walking tour or something like that.
I'm sure we can talk and figure out on an
Okay.
individual basis what makes the most sense and when is a good time. Maybe if they're part of the Jewish community, they can even come to meet the whole group.
Thank you.
Are there
Any
other
questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So, Julie, are you going to send the actual flights? I saw the outgoing flight, but I didn't see the
Yep.
return flight there.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Mhm.
Because I want to check that out ASAP.
Yes. Yep. Yep. I can tell you if it's on here. Yeah, we'll send it to everyone tomorrow. Oh, it's here. It's United. It leaves at 5:40 and arrives at 7:22. The return one. So we get that full day at the end almost, so we can have most of the time of the day.
There are also a bunch of Air Canada flights around the same time. But in our experience, many women have points and miles and stuff on United being a hub at Newark. So if for whatever reason the Air Canada works for you, you could certainly do that. But these are the designated flights that the bus will be meeting.
Exactly. Any other questions? If not, we're right on time. I love it. I'll let our chairs close us off.
Well, thank you all for taking the time. Monday evenings are exhausting and we're done just in time for The Bachelor, I think, if anybody. So no, just thank you for your time. If you have any questions at all, please reach out to either Diane or Deb or Becky or myself, and we will make sure you get all your questions answered. And I really hope to see all of you on the mission. Becky, do you have anything?
Yeah, no, I echo all your sentiments. And thank you all.
It
Thanks,
was nice to
Becky.
meet everybody, and I
Thank
will make
you.
myself available as well for questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I hope you'll all go.
Good night.
Night.